What is up? What is up? What is up? It is your favorite demon, misunderstood demon, back with another podcast episode for the Demonic Wave podcast. And in this episode, I am mostly just going to be talking about, mostly in the music section of this podcast. For what I do is about writing music, but more so like ghostwriting and just, my 2 cents about ghostwriting and everything about that. But yeah, let's get into it. All right, so for this episode, like I said, I'm going to be talking about just like writing music in general and just like ghostwriting and stuff. I'm probably not going to break it down into segments because that sometimes takes slightly too long, but fuck it. One thing I have to say about ghostwriting just in general, there's nothing wrong with it. I've been seeing, because of the big beef that has been happening recently with Kendrick, J. Cole, Drake, Metro, Rick Ross, and everyone else, people have been saying, oh, this has been ghostwritten, and like there's been the AI shit from like Kendrick and Drake's and stuff, and I believe it was Rick Ross who said, oh yeah, who ghost wrote this verse, who goes wrote Drake's verse and everything like that. And I think, for me at least, just for like my opinion, there's nothing wrong with ghostwriting. I feel like it's how you utilize it when writing your music and everything. That's the most important part of is ghostwriting, good or bad, in my opinion. Because just like everything in this entire world, there are always pros and cons for anything in the world. There's always a pro and there's always going to be a con. And for ghostwriting, I feel like the biggest pros is, it helps you create music. It helps you, create verses. It really helps you with, understanding that, oh, maybe I should use these words better than, this word. Maybe I should use these type of lines. Maybe I should have this type of cadence. Maybe I should use this word because of the definition of it. And, there's nothing wrong with using a ghostwriter or anything, but it's different if you continuously use a ghostwriter as kind of like a crutch, in a sense, where it's just like you are completely dependent on it. Like literally it just goes, oh yeah, I'm about to make this new song. I can't do it without a ghostwriter. I can't do it without this person. I can't do it without that. There's nothing wrong with having a team, mind you. There's nothing wrong with having a team, but it's different when you as the artist, you as the person that is creating the music and creating something, just, in general, you are so dependent on this one other person or this team of people to create your sound. Basically, you as the artist, you're not creating the sound, you're not creating these lyrics, you are just letting somebody basically just be like, all right, don't worry about it, you'll just be the voice, but we'll be the one doing everything. That's where the biggest con, I feel, for ghostwriting is like being too dependent on it. And I know there are big artists out there that have used ghostwriters. I think Drake has used ghostwriters here and there. I know Cardi B, it was said that Cardi B used ghostwriters. I'm pretty sure even bigger artists have used ghostwriters, in their lifetime, or as they are coming out. I'm pretty sure a decent amount of artists now that are like really blowing up and everything, I'm pretty sure a decent amount of them, they use ghostwriters and everything, because I feel like for ghostwriters, they understand what like the trends and what's popular out there in the world, because they always like do their research and everything. So writing lyrics around that type of trends, those type of really popular things that is going on in the world, popular media and everything, ghostwriters are able to do that very easily, just because they understand the ins and outs of the world, the ins and outs of social media and everything. So having ghostwriters is a very important thing to have, but I feel like like I said, it can be a crutch for you, just because it's the originality. And I know that sounds like a broken record sometimes, because I feel like a lot of people have said this. A lot of people look down on ghostwriting, because it's just like, oh, it's not you, blah blah blah, and everything like that. But it's different if you are just getting help for, I need help writing this verse, I need help with, these next couple of lines here and there and everything. That's different in my opinion, because it's just like, oh yeah, I'm not completely dependent on this ghostwriter. I'm not completely dependent on that shit, because you as the artist, you as the person, you understand that this is still my idea. This is, what I have in my thought process, and this is what I want to write about. This is what I want to talk about. This is what I want to rap, sing, whatever. This is what I want to do. So having a ghostwriter help you put that idea into words and into verses and into a chorus, bridges, whatever, is very helpful. But having it just be like, oh yeah, this is my idea, just create a song for me. At that point, what I will say is that if you are that dependent on a ghostwriter, then at that point, you no longer are an artist, really. You're more just like, you're a product. You are just there. You are literally just another cog in the big machine of music making. You aren't necessarily an artist anymore. You are just the product of, just this hit single and everything. Like, oh yeah, you're the artist name is on it and everything like that, but you didn't necessarily create it, or you didn't really have a big help in it. All you did was just record the vocals and everything, but it was just like, yeah, that's really it. You can't necessarily say, oh yeah, this is my song, these are my ideas, when in reality, probably it wasn't. It really wasn't, because it was just like, oh yeah, I kind of just had my whole entire team just create this whole entire thing for me. And it's just like, well, you didn't really make anything then. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of my biggest thing with ghostwriting. It's just that, how can I put it? I've been putting it in certain ways, but it's just not as important for some people. I feel like if you are just starting out as an artist, definitely maybe have a ghostwriter or two to really help you with writing and everything if you're just starting out. But in all honesty, if you are at a point in your career, at a point in life where you feel like, I understand my sound, I understand who I am, I understand, my fans and everything, do you. Don't worry about anything. Don't worry about the trends, the popularity, or anything like that. Write from the heart, because I feel like a lot of people don't do that these days. There's a lot of artists that do that, but I feel like the big mainstream artists, they don't do that. They don't necessarily write from the heart. They don't necessarily go yeah, this is something that is very, very close to home. You know what I'm saying? They'll paint that picture easily. They'll paint that fucking picture. But when then listening to the music, listening to what you are, digesting basically music wise, it's just I don't feel like this is from a very heartfelt place. You know what I'm saying? And that's another thing which is also important. Writing for yourself when making music and everything. I will say, mostly just because I'm mostly broke. But, because I necessarily everything that I write, a lot of people will say, oh yeah, it sounds shit, it sounds stupid, the lyrics, they don't sound as meaningful or anything. I make a decent amount of songs, they aren't necessarily meaningful. But when I do make songs that are very heartfelt and everything, you get the feeling that, yeah, this is coming from a very genuine place, because I don't use ghostwriters or anything like that. It's just me, I'm just I want to be as authentic and as real as I truly want to be. And there's so many artists out there that do that, but the biggest stuff, the big artists that are just like in your face all the time, all over social media and everything, the majority of them, they're just not as genuine, they're not as original, they're not as authentic as you truly think they are, which sucks, because it's just like, I thought this was authentic, I thought this was really you. For some artists, that really is them, but for a decent amount of big artists and everything, they just have a team that is just like, man, this will be your next idea. All right, just give us like a week to make this song, or give us a while to make this album, or anything like that. And it kind of sucks, because it's just like, knowing that it's not necessarily genuine, where, it's coming from a genuine place, it sucks, because now it's just like, well, I wanted to hear the real you, not necessarily this byproduct of you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wanted to hear the raw, I wanted to hear the uncut, I wanted to hear just the authentic you. But we don't usually get that nowadays. We mostly get generic, like club bangers and everything like that probably are written by the artists themselves, because it's very, very simplistic. But at the same time, it's just like, it's not coming from a genuine place. It's coming from pleasing the masses. And that's another thing I want to talk about, is writing to please the masses. As an artist, I feel like the number one thing for an artist when writing a song, or even when having a ghostwriter help you write a song or anything, it should come from a place that isn't meant to, I don't necessarily want to say, it should like blow up or anything like that, but truly just be to please the masses, to please everyone. Because that's never gonna fucking happen. That is never gonna happen. You're always gonna have people that hate a song. There are songs that a lot of my friends, they thoroughly enjoy, they love it, and where I'm just like, I've heard it, I listen to it, it sucks. It's never gonna, a song is never truly gonna resonate with every single person out there, which is fair. But the number one thing I think is important for an artist to remember when writing a song is, don't ever write a song for people. I've learned this when I was creating music, and I was really trying to do like very like club banger type shits and everything, and like would really get people going and everything like that. And I remember I showed some of my friends who really enjoy music and they understand like the ins and outs of music and like the industry and stuff. They were, they listened to my stuff in the very beginning from where I started, and then my most recent stuff, and they were just like, it sounds better, like it sounds more clean and everything, but it doesn't sound like me. It was just like the shit that I started with was better in their opinions, because it was like, it came from a genuine place. It came from a place where you didn't care about who necessarily was listening. It came from a place where I enjoyed what I was doing. And I feel like that's the most important thing for an artist to remember when writing a song. Write a song or make an album, a project, an EP, mixtape, or anything. Just make sure when writing that song or writing those songs and everything, it needs to be important to you. It needs to impress you as the artist and as the one creating this. Because the number one fan for any artist is yourself. You are your own number one fan. Nobody will ever take that place. It is literally not possible to take that place of you being your own number one fan. Because if you aren't vibing with your own music, gotta do something about it. It was just like, I'm not feeling this song, I'm not feeling these lyrics or anything. Scrap it. Get rid of it. Even songs where, and I know there are artists out there and they do that, they'll put out a song that is just like a quick little club banger or anything like that, and it was just like the masses, the fans and everything, the people out there, they're just like, yeah, this is like your best song, blah 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 and everything. The artists themselves, they'll be like, I hated making that fucking song. I fucking hated it. Like, for example, I saw like recently, who was it? Tyler, the Creator. He made Yonkers. He fucking hates that shit. He was just like, yeah, he was like, when Tyler was making the beat and everything for Young, he was like, I was trying to make just a shitty New York type beat and everything. And he was just like, I was just like, oh yeah, fuck it. Let's just put some shit together and everything. And then Yonkers was created. Literally one of his biggest songs. I won't say, oh, it's the song that really like he blew up from. I'm pretty sure there were others. But really like one of his biggest songs. And so many people like at his concerts, they will request that song. They'll be like, play Yonkers. And Tyler literally will just be like, I fucking hate this song. You know what I'm saying? Like he made the song as a joke and it blew up so much. You know, that really is an example of an artist that is literally just like, oh yeah, I kind of made this song for the masses and everything. I didn't necessarily make it for myself, you know, which is just like, one, that sucks because I fucking love that song. But two, it kind of really shows that, you know, someone like Tyler, the Creator, he can make just obnoxious and just idiotic shit like that and it'll blow up. But for him as his own number one fan, he's kind of just like, he's like, I kind of wish I didn't make it. Kind of wish I could have scrapped it or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Or he probably could have went back and just be like, I kind of wish I could have made it a little bit better. Maybe the lyrics would work a little bit better or anything like that. That's the biggest thing. If you aren't impressed with your own music, with your own sound, with your own cadence, with whatever, then there's nothing wrong with scrapping it. If people start unfollowing you or they're just like, what's wrong with you? Why did you do that? This snippet was awesome and everything like that. People who truly enjoy your authentic self will stick around, right? They will always stick around. They'll always be there because they're just like, I know this is the real you. And I know this is coming from a genuine place. You know what I'm saying? Versus, oh, I know this is the fake you. And I know this is probably going to blow up. But I'm not going to listen to it just because I know this isn't the real you. So there's no point. You know what I'm saying? A big example, and this is just my own opinion, is someone like Drake. You know? I feel like with like Nothing Was the Same and Take Care, maybe Views, I feel like that music, when he made that, I feel like that was more of a genuine place, in my opinion. I feel like that was more of a genuine place that he was writing and everything. Sure, maybe there were a couple of ghostwriters. I don't know. But whether or not it was more genuine Drake, in my opinion. Versus now, I'm just like, he's just phoning it in. He literally is just making shit just to make it, in my opinion. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But it turned me off to his music I won't say early, but like around the time when he had out, Scorpion and whatever the fuck the other one was. Don't remember, don't care. It sucked. But, you know, around the time where Scorpion was coming out and then everything later on after that, I was kind of just like, I'm done. I'm done. Because I was just like, yeah, Scorpion just was no for me. Both sides, they were just no. Because I feel like for who Drake is, he's just been phoning it in for all these years. He still goes number one. He still breaks records, sure. But I'm just like, the music just isn't good anymore. It's just not as great. And that's true for a decent amount of artists out there. I feel like, you know, some artists that I listened to way back in the day, and I felt like, yeah, this is awesome and everything, and now they are just phoning it in. Versus there are some artists where I feel like they really have just shown their genuine self. For example, most recently is Schoolboy Q with the album Blue Lips, which in my opinion is his best album out. Possibly second best, just because Oxymoron I think is still top tier for me. But listening to Blue Lips, I was just like, this feels like Schoolboy Q really just being like, this is just me. You know, let me just shed away all of the bullshit, all of the commercialized crap that I've been doing and everything, and let me just do me. And I fucking love that album. Sure, you can say, oh yeah, there's some commercialized type of stuff, because a lot of people said, oh, the way Blue Lips sounds, it's like a really good mixture of Blank Face, which I fucking love that album, and then Crash Talk, which a lot of people didn't necessarily enjoy that album. I enjoyed it just because I'm a big Schoolboy Q fan. But a lot of people were just like, yeah, it's, you know, he was more like kind of phoning it in on that album. It was more commercialized. It was more like got bangers and everything like that. And it was just like, yeah, that's fair. You know, re-listening to it, I understand where people are coming from when, you know, reading these reviews and everything. But then people saying that, yeah, Blue Lips feels like it's really him just in his own type of element and everything, like really just zoning in, locking in and everything. Of course, you know, keeping up with a, you know, decent amount of commercialized stuff like, you know, Urine 101 and then, you know, stuff like Pig Feet and stuff like that. And it's just like, yeah, he's gonna have these crazy ass type bangers and everything, but it still feels like it's genuinely him, and he is just thoroughly enjoying making this music. Like, he is just actually enjoying making this music and coming from a genuine and authentic place. You know, another person I feel recently with, you know, a big album release was Joyner Lucas with Not Now, I'm Busy. You know, is it his best album? No, I feel like, actually, no. Is it? I kind of like 508 more, even though that technically isn't an album. It's technically a mixtape. But I feel like even Joyner with this album, with Not Now and Busy, I feel like this came from a, you know, a more genuine place than some of the other stuff that he's been releasing. I feel like it's slightly more of a genuine place than that of ADHD. I feel like it's more of a genuine place than that of Evolution. You know, I feel like it's more of an authentic him, you know, really him just in his element and just zoning in, and then, you know, just being like, this is just me and everything. And like the what was it, the final track on it, which is Not Now I'm Busy, where it's just him talking and everything and saying that, you know, last night I killed the old me because I really had to, you know, it wasn't working and everything. I fucking love that type of introspective thing, because he was just like, he was like, Joyner himself was like, I understand that my old self, who I was and everything, it's not working because it's not my genuine self. You know what I'm saying? He was like, this album, this really is like a more genuine me. You know, it's more authentic. It's more, this is who I am and everything. So let me give you who I am. And I just love that. I thoroughly enjoy the album. I think it's a really fantastic album. If you haven't heard it, I think it's really great. And, you know, a lot of people are talking about it, saying that, oh, it's not the greatest thing out and everything. I think for Joyner Lucas and what he's given us, especially with stuff like ADHD and stuff, I feel like this is one of his best projects right now. And, you know, there are so many other artists that I can talk about, but it all has to do with being genuine when writing songs and being authentic when writing songs. Go ahead, get a ghostwriter, right? Because a ghostwriter, as long as you don't depend on them to the point where they are just writing the song and all you do is just recording whatever it is their thought process was and not necessarily your own thought process, get a ghostwriter, right? Because guess what? A ghostwriter is just going to help you write better. A ghostwriter is just, you know, going to explain to you, like, you know, use this type of line and everything for this verse, so, you know, have this word because the word means this, da-da-da, and everything like that. And is really going to help you as an artist open your mind to just be like, you know, I kind of understand how to write better and everything. I know how to flow with the beat and be more understanding and everything. And that's one thing I love about, if people are talking about, oh yeah, you know, you use ghostwriters and everything. Good. As long as it wasn't like 100% a ghostwriter who wrote this, good. It sounds better. It sounds like them. You know, it sounds like this is what they wanted to put out. But more importantly, it sounds like they were pleased with this first before they were just like, I hope the fans love this. That's the number one thing, like my type of thing when writing songs. I don't ever think about it as, I hope the fans love this. No, forget the fans. Forget the fame, forget all of that shit. Number one should be, I hope I love this. Because there's been a lot of songs, or hell, there has been a whole entire album I made, Let Me Talk, where it was in the workings when I made it for maybe 2.5 years, right? I completed it and everything, but then I kept it in the vault because I was just like, it's not time. I want to try and blow up a little bit more. And I was just like, yeah, why not? Around that time, a bunch of crazy shit was going on in my life. And, you know, I was always tweaking Let Me Talk, and I was always trying to make it so that it was just like, oh, you know, this is more so for the people, not necessarily for myself. Because I was just like, I kind of want to just make like club bangers and everything, maybe like a very thought-provoking type song within the album and everything. And I remember coming back to it a couple years later, after I never released it, I listened to it and I was just like, this wasn't genuinely me. This wasn't me. It can be that long. You can leave music for years, come back to it and just be like, I don't know why I made this. Hell, you can have a song and make it within like a day. You listen to it and you're just like, why the fuck did I make this? And there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's the number one thing, you know, when making music. Like I said, it has to come from a genuine place. Even if you use ghostwriters or anything, as long as that thought process, as it's coming from a genuine place, as long as you understand that the masses probably won't love it, just because they're used to a certain sound coming from you, coming from the artist. And then you want to go ahead and switch it up like that, whether it's being like ridiculously experimental or being more thought-provoking or being more club banger, if you know that's your forte. And then a lot of people aren't going to vibe with it at first. Sometimes it grows on people, but at first a lot of people aren't going to vibe with it. A lot of people aren't going to vibe with you and who you are. And that's fine, because then the people who are just there for a good time, they're going to leave. But then the people who are there because they care about you as the artist, they care about your genuine self, they're going to stick around for a while. They're going to stick around for a long time. Those are the people you really want to reach. Because then once you reach those, you can reach even more from them, you know? And that kind of is just, you know, my own little 2 cents on like ghostwriting and just making music and everything. And maybe like, you could say it's like my 2 cents in, you know, advice on just making music, you know, as a whole, you know. But just number one thing, just be genuine, you know. A lot of people say, oh, you know, nobody's original anymore, blah, 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 and everything. No, everybody is original. It just doesn't sound like it. That's the only thing. But there's nothing wrong with being just yourself. If it sounds like shit, it sounds like shit. Who cares? I made so much music that sounds like absolute shit. I can go back to the very first stuff I ever made, and I'm just like, I don't know why I made this. For myself, no. For people, yes. And they still didn't fuck with it. But now, and I feel like a decent amount of artists are like this, just in a better headspace, you know, in a better headspace, making music that I thoroughly enjoy, making songs, making beats, making, you know, producing beats and all that shit. It's coming from a more genuine place now. That is the most important thing. As long as it comes from a genuine place, people will vibe with it. The people that truly want to rock with you, that truly want to be there, you know, for you and your authentic, genuine self, they're going to rock with it, right? It's probably going to take a minute, but they're going to rock with it. They're going to be like, this is you, and I understand that, you know? You know, that's the number one thing, though. Number one fan is you as the artist. There is no other number one fan. There just cannot be. You are your own number one fan. And if you are not vibing with your own music, your own sound, your own songs, change it. Make it so that then it becomes more your style, so that it becomes more you. There's nothing wrong with just being like, yeah, I gotta scrap this project, I gotta scrap this song. I just wasn't feeling it for a while after I've been listening to it over and over and over again. There's nothing wrong with that. Scrap it. Restart. Just remember that the number one thing is that you don't need to impress people. You need to impress yourself. You need to listen to this music that you're making and just be like, damn, I just did something. That's the number one thing. And like I said, it's just my little 2 cents, just my own opinion and everything. So, I hope you enjoyed this short, little episode. All right. So in the end, I hope you have enjoyed this short little episode of mine. I didn't break this down into several segments or anything like that. It was just one decently long segment. Not necessarily that long. It's like 27 minutes. But, I hope you enjoyed this little episode of mine. I think, like I said, I think it's very important for any upcoming artists, like myself, any independent, big artists, mainstream artists, small artists, underground artists, any type of artist out there. Just remember, there's nothing wrong with having a ghostwriter as long as you don't depend on them too much. And there's nothing wrong with being yourself, because your number one fan, as I said so many times, but it's really important that you know this. Your number one fan will never change. It will never change because your number one fan is yourself. That is the most important thing to remember. Your number one fan is yourself. The only person you really should be impressing when making this music, when doing whatever, is yourself. Don't care about the masses. Don't care about other people. Don't care about other artists. It should just be yourself. All right? Don't ever make music or don't ever do anything for anyone else. All right? Always do it for yourself because that's the most important thing to do. Now, of course, I'm pretty sure a lot of people will just be like, shut the fuck up. That's fine. But for some of the people who maybe agree with me, thank you, because it is important to love yourself and also understand yourself and understand who you are as a person, as a human being, and as an artist. All right? So take care. And this has been another episode of the Demonic Wave Podcast. Peace.